One Piece after 25 gosh dang years is finally coming to an end. We have entered the final saga and Luffy will now have to face off against his greatest challenge yet. Huh? No, not Buggy. Rather, I'm referring to the final antagonist of the series for over 800 years. Imu D. Judas.
Who?
Come on guys, you know, Im-sama, the Shadow King of the world, the leader of the Celestial Dragons and the 5 Elders? Yeah, well, she's a D.
What?
You know, I mean, has a D in her name.
I don't know. I think that's a bit dodgy, mate.
Oh, come on, I'm talking about the initials. Im-sama is from the family of D, but that's not all. Imu is not only a D, but was once a very close friend to none other than Joyboy, who she backstabbed and betrayed, all for some magical tree. No, not that type of tree. Come on, guys, I was talking about Sunlight Eve.
That's good shit right there.
Now you guys taking the piss. Seriously, using our balls deep observation hockey, we have figured out what really happened in the Void Century, along with the hidden secrets behind the world government and what they don't want you to know. But first, I need to address something important. A lot of you guys have been asking, where do I read manga or where can I watch anime? Well, I'm here to tell you, you're asking the wrong question. You should be asking, what browser do I use? Have you ever wanted to watch anime whilst you play games? Don't you want to have your favorite waifu alongside you whilst you browse the internet? What about listening to music seamlessly? And do all of this without your games lagging?
Nice.
For free! Well, let me tell you guys about our sponsor, Opera GX. No other browser will let you customize your experience as much as Opera GX. You can pick special themes, wallpapers and colors, or just create something from scratch by uploading your own background images. You can even pick out an animated wallpaper just like this Naruto one I have. One of the most amazing features about Opera GX is the video pop-out function. You can literally watch us on YouTube or even watch anime whilst you play your favorite game. And with Opera's special GX player, you can listen to your tunes whilst connecting to Spotify and Apple Music. The best part is it's super easy and quick to import everything you need from your previous browser. Come on guys, don't miss out. Download Opera GX now. Check out the link in the description below. We first learnt about Im-sama during the Reverie in chapter 906. Until this chapter, we all were led to believe that the highest authority in the world government were the Gorosei. However, even the 5 elders bowed down to Im-sama as she sat upon the empty throne of the world, cementing herself as the leader of the government and the marines. It's also revealed that Im-sama is the dictator that decides the name of the light, which needs to be extinguished from history. Yeah, she basically gives hit commands here and there, you know, as she please, because she's the big bad boss. But the conspiracy don't stop there, as Im-sama is shown in the basement chambers deep within the Pangaea castle, revealing a giant straw hat in the freezing cellar, whilst she has a poster of Luffy in hand. But things get even stranger when she goes to the room of flowers. She cuts apart Luffy and Blackbeard's poster whilst stabbing the photo of Shirahoshi whilst holding the picture of Vivi. But the important thing is the room of flowers Im-sama is inside, because I believe that this room is where the Eve tree, whose roots provide air and light 10,000 meters below to Fishman Island, is located, whilst its branches light up the flower room in the Pangaea castle. Also, because of how Im-sama is depicted from her stature and the way she behaved, I'm referring to her as a she. However, this is not a fact. It could easily be a he, you know, who knows.
We do not care.
But with the little information we have and using a balls deep observation hockey, I'm here to tell you that we have indeed unlocked the secrets of the Void Century. But before we explain Im-sama's betrayal, making her the Judas to Joyboy and the people of D, let's first explain the will of D and who the people of D really are. We know from chapter 764, the people of D were those who challenged the gods, which in this world are the celestial dragons, though they have a negative outlook, obviously pushed by the celestial celestial dragons themselves and of course the world government, but in reality the clan of D are those who will bring the dawn of a new era. Now in chapter 763, Roseante revealed to Law that those with this initial in their name are from the fated family of D. However, the term family has a lot of meaning. In the world of One Piece, Luffy, Ace and Sabo are brothers, though they are not related by blood. Whitebeard was a father to his sons, and again they are not related by blood. I can go on forever. Even Luffy and his crew are sort of a family. Likewise, with the family of D, there is a misconception that those with this initial in their names are all genetically related or once belonged to the same clan. But I'm here to tell you that's not the case. Rather, the D's were part of a group or crew who followed the Free King, Joyboy, during the Void Century. Every one of them were like family, though they came from different places and belonged to different races. Some were giants, some were fishmen, some were Lunarians, and some were humans, so on and so forth. They were all the family of D under their captain Joyboy. This would also explain how Jaguar D Sol obtained the D initials even though he's a giant. Likely his forefather 800 years ago wasn't Joyboy's crew, or it could be that his ancestor got gigantified, but that's just a complete different story altogether. However, like in all families and crew, there is always one black sheep, or in this case a Judas. Blackbeard is a representation of this. He is the Judas of Whitebeard's crew. My theory is that in Joyboy's time, there was a member of the crew who betrayed him and became the reason why the ancient Great Kingdom lost to the 20 allied kingdoms. Because of this, the promised meeting of Joyboy and Poseidon 800 years ago did not take place, so the mission to unify all races and the sea failed. This Judas is none other than Imu D Judas. But before we get into how and why Imu betrayed Joyboy, let's recap a bit about Joyboy's goals and what he stood for, as Imsummer's motive actually lies here. Now 800 years ago, Joyboy along with Poseidon were considered sovereigns in their own rights. This was alluded by King Neptune of Fishman Island and the Sea Kings who foretold the prophecies of their rebirth. Joyboy likely was a leader and seen as an idol by civilization of the ancient kingdom. Even if Shandora wasn't part of the ancient kingdom, which I still believe it was, Joyboy's influence stretched far and wide through the world. Like even the Lunarians, who were the residents of the Redline, knew Joyboy and likely looked up to him, especially since Joyboy was the embodiment of the warrior of liberation, Sun God Nika. He had the power to make imagination into reality and help the world with his unique ability by molding and shaping things to his will. During the Void Century, there were multiple human kingdoms along with other nations belonging to different races. The ancient kingdom stood as the middle ground and authority to prevent injustice and disharmony. Joyboy led the charge against any skirmishes between these territories. Some of the races believed they were superior over others and went on a hunt to cause harm. However, they would be forcefully stopped by Joyboy and his crew, the family of D. This would explain the legends of Nika, but it doesn't stop there. We also know that Joyboy planned to use Poseidon and the ship Noah, which was built by an extinct clan, to move the people of Fishman Island to the surface. This reiterated the understanding of the will Joyboy had to bring the world together. Joyboy worked with the Minks and the country of Wano along with the giants to make this dream come true. The dream where the world and the sea will be one piece, no boundaries and complete freedom to travel. A true harmonic cosmopolitan world. To do this, Joyboy had to unify the people together and have them work as one unit, because this plan had a lot of hurdles. Joyboy needed a way to control the rampant Sea Kings, fix the crazy weather in the New World, and destroy the Red Line, which is where Poseidon, Pluton, and Uranus came into the picture. But most importantly, all of this was only possible due to the advancement of the ancient kingdom and the social power they had on the world during that era. The ancient kingdom was a very advanced civilization, with robots having a clear understanding of devil fruits and haki of the world. With this knowledge, they also knew about the dangers such powers could possess. Almost like how us in the real world have nukes, but don't use them to the fullest because we know the dangers. Although we do use nuclear technology in non-destructive ways. The evidence of this advancement of technology can be seen through NL's cover story, where he lands on the moon only to find the ruins of an ancient city named Birka, where technology and architecture was highly advanced. From the paintings on the wall, the city's history can also be deciphered. It was the home of the moon people, the ancestors of the Skypians and Shandorians. But one day, they left the moon and headed to the main planet, which is the One Piece world. However, they left their creations on the moon, which are the robots creatures called automata. We don't know when this immigration did take place. However, it was likely at least 1100 years ago since the start of the story, because that's when the city of Shandora was prosperous. Basically, these robots and these advanced cities were built by the people of the ancient kingdom before they descended on the main planet. These ancients were the ancestors of the people with wings. When they first arrived to the world of One Piece, it's likely they were seen as angels or some godly divine entity. Later down the line, Joyboy became one of their representatives. Yes, that means Joyboy likely had a pair of wings himself. Regardless, these people harnessed the power of their technology and applied it to the nature of the planet. This brought forth the power of devil fruits and various types of tools, from dials to transponder snails. However, through the effort of the world government and the millennia gap, the legends and myth got warped. Just like how the Skypians' legends about sacrificing girls to please their god got warped. This also gives evidence to how Vegapunk is so advanced, as we know that one of the automata fell to Karakuri Island and Vegapunk was struck by curiosity, making his life mission to understand these technologies of the ancient people. This is also how his science is likely 500 years ahead of the rest of the world, because he peered into the past instead of the future for discovery. But coming back to Joyboy and his mission, he united members from different countries into his crew, where one of them was Imu. After traveling the world with Joyboy, Imu learned a lot about his civilization and what it had to give. Maybe she even fell in love with Joyboy. But once they arrived at Fishman Island and then the country of the Lunarians, things were about to change. The Lunarians and the fish folks have a lot of things in common, but have you ever wondered why they were hated for such a long time and even hunted by the government? Well, it's all got to do with propaganda, my friend. You see, these two races had another thing in common, which was this tree, Sunlight Eve.
Sunlight Eve is a gigantic tree that extends 10,000 meters from the ocean ground directly beneath the red line and shoots up sitting on top of the red continent itself, which was of course inhabited by the Lunarians. You guys who had the notification bell on will already know the significance the Sunlight Tree Eve has in the world of One Piece, as we theorize that it played a part in growing devil fruits.
In One Piece, you need the Adam tree to pollinate the Eve tree to produce devil fruit.
But this tree also held the unique properties to absorb sunlight and transfer it to its roots, along with supplying air to the ocean floor through respiration. Below the sea level, the sea folk, to avoid persecution by the humans, found haven under the red line because of this very tree. Whilst above the red line, Lunarians were the caretakers of this tree and worked closely with the ancient kingdom in preserving it. Through Imu's journey with Joyboy, her new family of the D's, she became obsessed with its beauty and power. For Joyboy's dream to bring the new dawn and unite the world, he would have had to destroy the red line, effectively killing this tree, as in that specific point would lie the red line's weakest composition. The Lunarian race who lived on top of the red line likely agreed with this plan, as they were promised something greater in return. You guys see where I'm going, right? Imu, who believed this tree is more important than the unification of the world, made sure this didn't happen and came up with a way to avoid this outcome. To stop Joyboy's plan, she had to destroy the ancient kingdom. Through the shadows, she manipulated the leaders of the 20 kingdom around the world, convincing them to form an alliance. Then they declared war on the ancient kingdom. Though the ancient kingdom was highly advanced, they didn't anticipate this betrayal. Due to Imu's closeness with Joyboy and the family of D, she was able to gain the trust of Toki's father, who was the master of Zenisha, the gigantic elephant. Zenisha, who would usually only take command from his master, let down his guard and became friendly with Imu. Once the allied kingdom attacked the ancient kingdom, Imu misinformed and tricked Zenisha into helping the allied nations win. Though Joyboy was defeated by his betrayal, he anticipated that his dream to bring the world together would come later down in the future. Either he or his contemporary had a power similar to Madame Sharky in foretelling the future. You know, we're talking about the balls deep prediction hockey. Joyboy then, with the help of the Minx and the Wano country, left poneglyphs for the future to see. This showcased that Joyboy understood how Imu's mind worked and knew what to do in response. Having a deep understanding of hockey and the manifestation of will, Joyboy imbued the will of his spirit into a devil fruit. For over 800 years, would wait for the right time to choose its host, which we now know is Monkey D. Luffy. Everything was timed perfectly, as Joyboy, with the use of his observation haki, was able to sense the presence of Poseidon and when she would reappear. Luffy is 3 years older than Shirahoshi and obtained his devil fruit when he was 7. Shirahoshi was alive during this time, pushing things into motion. After betraying Joyboy, defeating the ancient kingdom, and having their side girl, the Eve Tree, all to themselves, what did Imu-sama do next? They rallied against the Lunarians, basically making them extinct because they were the caretakers of the Eve Tree, securing the Red Line and establishing Marie Joie atop the previously Lunarian-controlled Red Line. The world nobles decided to make Imu their god and king, as without Imu, they would have probably lost to the ancient kingdom, plus Imu could, probably kill them all. However, Imu-sama ruled from the shadows, giving the world the false sense that it was the kingdoms coming together at the reverie where decisions are made, and the 5 elders are the final pedestal of the world government. Everyone believes that the throne of the world is kept empty, but if the people of the world read chapter 906, they would find out that Imu is the true shadow king of the world. This secrecy is there so that the nobles could portray that they got their victory without outside help, because it's hard to believe that a celestial, a race of higher beings who can't even breathe air under Marie Joie, needed help from Imu's betrayal to defeat the ancient kingdom. Their high status would be brought to question immediately if this secret were to be revealed. Under Imu, the world government was formed. The history of the world was changed, where they removed everything that didn't fit their narrative of the world before the regime started. This was, of course, to keep the other nations from learning the truth about how the world likely was better before the nobles and Imu took over, where now the world is actually being oppressed or given a false sense of freedom. But how is Imu-sama still alive to this day, where we see him in chapter 906 ABD? You guys are probably thinking, well, it's through the Ape Ape no Mi. As we learned in chapter 761, the Ape Ape no Mi has the power to turn a person immortal through the surgery where the user gives their own life away. This is why Doflamingo wanted the fruit so badly, and it's worth almost as much as the head of the Pirate King at 5 billion berries. The proof of this is in Oda himself introducing this ability, and from reading One Piece multiple times, I know that Oda doesn't waste any plot points. This Chekhov's gun has to be fired, especially since we are on the final saga of One Piece. The fruit's ability has to be used by law, or it will be used to support Imu's immortality, as my man goes to the basement to look at the giant straw hat, which is most likely Joyboy's, Imu's Nakama from the Void Century. If you guys enjoyed this video, then go check out our video on the devil fruits. We basically figured out how devil fruits are created, how the Adam and Eve tree fit into the entire puzzle, so go click on that.